Dear listeners, thank you for your incredible support in helping our channel grow. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, so please support us by subscribing and helping us reach this milestone. Now let's start the story. Present, Jens, Yasmin, and Zarika, traveling back to the cabin. Damn, this is taking forever. Yeah, after the cab company disabled the taxi and Yasmin accidentally shot out the deputy's window, we bailed out of the cab, and now we had to run to the cabin. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love running, but if the emails I've been getting from the security system are accurate, all hell is breaking loose. Plus, I don't dare push the girls any faster. Thank God they didn't bring a crapload of stuff with them. We finally reach the drive and head down the road for the cabin. When I hear a vehicle behind us, I command, "Quick, everyone hide." We duck behind some bushes. The vehicle stops and I hear, "I'll wonder if ye three need a ride?" Thank God it wasn't the sheriff or a deputy. I would recognize that accent anywhere. I step out from behind the bush and accept. Hell yes, we need to get to the cabin as soon as possible. Something weird is going on. Hammer says, "Hop in, buds." The three of us get into his car, and I ask, "Where did you get the car?" He states, "A mucker I mine loaned it to me." It is obvious from the car and the flower vase on the dash the friend of his is a woman, which also explains where he's been. I begin to catch him up on things until Yasmin interrupts. "Excuse me, sir. Why do you wear a dress? Are you one of those?" What's the damn word, Zarika? Zarika answers, "A homosexual." At first I worry Hammer will be offended, but then he laughs and says, "This is a kilt and nae a frock. Day ye ken th difference between a frock and kilt?" I bite my tongue when Yasmin continues, "No, sir, I do not know the difference between a frock and a kilt." He winks at me and replies, "If ye wear underwear on it makes it a frock." Yasmin giggles, "Do you mean you go commandant?" Zarika corrects her, "She means commando. And doesn't that present problems?" Hammer grins at me and answers, "Nay, it lets my wee jimmies hang free and teach win." Woods ye lock see? Yasmin and Zarika giggle like crazy. We round the corner, approach the gate, and it looks like a circus. There's an ambulance crashed into the gate with several sheriff cars and one unmarked car sitting ahead of us. I exclaim, "Shit, I was worried about that. The sheriff deputies are here for me." Yasmin begins to cry. I do not want to be picked up by the fuzz. Hammer stops the car and advises, "Yo, 3 slip FRM the car, and I'll see it's going on." We slip away from Hammer's car, make a wide loop, and jump the fence, which of course sets off the alarm. Then we head toward the cabin. Present, Mira, heading to the cabin on foot. After I terminate the Pumacon color, Alexei also tumbles to the firmament. My greatest concern is in my haste to save him. I might have accidentally shot him. The pain is still too great to use my bipedal units, so I unceremoniously slide on my derriere toward him. I approach Alexei and notate something terrible has occurred. Then my tympanic units detect a noisy approach. I am between a boulder and a rigid place. I must render immediate aid to Alexei, but I must also protect both of us. I fire a duality of warning bursts in the direction of the noise, reach out to touch Alexei, and present, Todd, mission to the gate. I hear 2 3-rounds burst from a rifle. I fix the position and head toward the infiltrators. I can barely make out 2 forms, one lying on the ground and the other sliding toward the supine one. I continue to approach when the form that's crawling fires 2 bursts in my general direction. I drop to the ground and crawl toward them. However, it's strange because neither of them are moving. Present, S.A. Hotchner, investigating at the gate to the cabin. Finally, I get a damn break. The taxi company reports one of their cabs was stolen and the driver was headed here. From the description, the culprit was Ms. Donaldson. Finally, I have her exactly where I want her, and there is no way she is going to slip out of a charge of grand theft auto. Besides that, she fired upon a sheriff's deputy. Yeah, her, but was finally mine. We arrive at her property, and there is an ambulance which was stolen from the hospital blocking the gate. We try multiple times to raise the cabin on the intercom, but no one answers. Then the alarm sounds at the cabin, and we hear several 3-round bursts from a weapon. I look at the deputies in order. Well, if this isn't probable cause, then nothing is. I'm heading up to the cabin. One of the deputies comments, "Well, there's no way in hell you're moving this ambulance without a tow truck." I confidently answer, "Then I'm going to walk." The other deputy advises, "Suit yourself." All I know is I wouldn't be going walking around on her land at night, especially not after the whole issue they had with the narcotic cartel army. The other deputy adds, "Plus, they have some sort of high-tech security system that's not to be messed with." I laugh, "You two are cowards." I open the trunk of my car, put on my attack vest, grab a rifle, and jump the fence. It triggers the alarm system, and I suddenly have a few second thoughts. Present, Jack and Ira, cabin. I enter the code to open the tunnel door, then the damn alarm goes off and the door's locked again. I complain, "Ira, I thought you said this damn security system is working correctly. She checks the terminal and states, General Sir. It is. Someone has just breached the fence. She enters the code to unlock the tunnel door. I reach for the door again, and the damn alarm is triggered, and the door locks again. I order, stand back so I can beat some sense into this system again. She turns and states, General, remember what happened last time you did this? Once again, someone breached the perimeter of the property and triggered the system. We cannot ascertain if the forces are foe or friend, so the logical step is to access the tunnel doors, make sure our families are safe, and then lock down the tunnels. I enter the code, and this time the alarm isn't triggered. As I open the door, right inside the door are Masha and Ivan. Ivan holds out his hands and says, Gappa. I take him in question. Masha, didn't you have any problems with the rats? My loving wife answers, No, my Jack. No rats entered the tunnels. But how are you, my love? I answer, I'm fine. Oh, I got bit a couple times. Masha scolds me. Jack, we need to get you to the hospital because getting bitten by a rat is a serious injury. I approach Ms. Morgan and question, Ms. Morgan, are you without injury? She smiles and says, Yes, Ira, I am fine. How are you? I complain. One of the vile rodents bit me on my derriere. Ms. Reynolds overhears and declares, We need to get both of you to the hospital to be checked out. Rats carry many diseases. I inform her. I agree with that statement. However, the perimeter has been breached multiple times by unknown forces. We must withdraw into the safety of the subterranean tunnel system until we can ascertain the identity of the forces. Masha orders, Then I will make sure to cleanse the bites you both have received. Jack and Irina follow me. I am surprised that my wife Masha didn't have any problems with rats in the tunnels, so on the way to the treating of my bites I decide to take a side trip. I say, I need to use the can first. The minute I step into a bathroom, I know why they didn't have any rat problems. Present, Todd, mission to the gate. The two unidentified persons that fired toward me haven't moved. So I jump up, run toward them, and realize it's Mira and Alexei. They are both unconscious. I pull my tactical light from my vest, shine it on them, and realize that they killed the puma that I had wounded earlier. I note the collar on the puma and realize what happened. One of the rounds that killed the puma damaged the collar. If these were like the collars we used, any damage to them inflicted a deadly shock to the animal. I use my bow to break the connection between Mira and Alexei, but cannot loosen Alexei's hands on the puma's tail. So I take out my knife and sever the tail. I kneel beside Alexei and do not find a pulse. I move to Mira and believe I find a faint pulse. Therefore, I begin CPR on Alexei. Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. We're headed toward the cabin when I notice a light and say to the girls, You two stay here while I go and investigate who the hell is on my property. As I approach, I realize it's Todd and call, Todd, it's Jens, and I'm coming in. I walk into the light and see that he's performing CPR on Alexei. He motions to Mira with his head, so I drop and check her, but I can't find a pulse. I whack the hell out of her chest and begin CPR. Present, Yasmin and Zarika, traveling back to the cabin. Ms. Donaldson has left us alone in the darkness, so I question, Zarika, do you think we should follow her? Zarika hushes me. Yasmin, someone is coming. I ask for help. What should we do? Then Zarika comes up with a brilliant idea. I sit on the ground and pretend to cry. The person walks up and demands, Who are you, and what are you doing here? Zarika springs on him from behind and hits him over the head with a big rock. The man falls to the ground. We search his clothes, find a flashlight, turn it on, then I realize we might have made a mistake. The back of his vest says FBI. I worry and ask, Zarika, if he is FBI, then we might be in big trouble. Zarika says, We will not be in trouble if we are not here when he wakes up. We take his guns and run toward the light and Ms. Donaldson. Present, Ira, cabin. We prepare to lock down the tunnels. Then my chest suddenly experiences pain, and I realize my sister Mira has been injured. I look at everyone and state, Mira has severe physical problems, and I must go to her. Ms. Morgan declares, There's no way in hell you're going by yourself. I look at General Payne and request, Sir, might you detain Ms. Morgan? If she comes with me, she will only slow me up. He replies, Liz, she's right, I'll go instead. Masha complains, Jack, we need to promptly treat those rat bites. He laughs, Hell, the team is more important than my tired old butt. We leave the tunnels and I suggest we should stop by my room for some medical supplies. We acquire the trauma kits from my room and proceed rapidly into the night. It is almost like I can perceive Mira guiding us. Present, Jens, traveling back to the cabin. As we're doing CPR on Mira and Alexei, Todd pauses a second and signs to me. I pull out my phone and make a call since we need a helicopter here to transport these two to the hospital. I return to doing CPR on Mira when I hear someone headed our way. I look and determine it's the girls. But where the hell did they get the weapons? I question, Where did you two get the guns? Zarika quickly provides an explanation. Miss Donaldson, we are sorry. But a man was sneaking up on us. We didn't know who he was, so I hit him over the head with a big rock. Yasmin adds, then we realized he was an FBI agent. So we took his guns and came here to tell you. I think that it's probably that damn S.A. Hotchner. He's been after me forever. I get ready to answer the girls when we hear from the direction of the cabin. Mira, we are coming. Ira and Jack arrive, but they look like they've been over hundreds of miles of bad roads. Their clothes are covered with blood and something that smells even worse. Ira drops beside Mira, checks for a pulse and announces, I will prepare an injection. She prepares Mira and gives her an injection right into the heart and orders, Ms. Donaldson, please monitor her pulse. I check and can now feel a faint pulse. She moves over to Alexei, prepares another injection, cleans his chest, and injects it right into his heart. Then she monitors his pulse and says, thank God I perceive a faint pulse. Jack pulls me to the side and starts telling his story. Jens, you aren't going to believe what happened to the cabin. Someone dumped thousands of rats into the septic system, and they came up into the cabin and attacked us. We killed all the scumsuckers, but the cabin is a mess. By the way, it was a smart idea to make the toilets in the tunnels incinerating toilets. If they had been connected to the septic system, then the rats would have gotten in the tunnels. I interrupt Jack. We have several bigger problems to deal with. First, I stole a taxi to get here faster, and the cab company quickly disabled it. Then Yasmin accidentally fired a shot into a deputy sheriff's car. Zarika clocked S.A. Hotchner, and the girls stole his guns. Jack states his opinion. Jens, they are going to fry the three of you if they catch you. I explain my plan. Well, I was hoping we could hide out in the tunnels until I can get my lawyer to fix things. Is the house livable? He shook his head. Hell no. The place is a blood-nasty mess. I think for a moment and order. Okay, let's move everyone into the garage and set up bunk beds. We will get a professional cleaner in to take care of the house and the girls, and I will hide out in the tunnels. Jack adds fuel to the fire. Jens, you might also want to check the security system. I'll swear it acted like it was possessed. The damn house even tried to kill us. Todd comes up beside us and signs. He is right, Jennifer. Someone has hacked into the security system. Until I forced it to reboot using my stun gun, it was going to kill us. That pisses me off, and so I growl. No one hacks my system and gets away with it. I'm taking the girls and heading to the tunnels, then I'm going to totally purge and reinitialize the security system. A chopper should be here soon to transport Mira and Alexei to the hospital. I will make the calls for the cleaners and also the call to get the ambulance removed from the front gate. Todd signs, what ambulance? I explain, someone tried to crash through the front gate with an ambulance. We hear Alexei weakly state, I am sorry, Ms. Donaldson. That was my mistake. I look and see that Zarika and Yasmin are taking care of Alexei while Ira is taking care of Mira. Todd signs, Jennifer, these were not your ordinary rats. They had been trained so that human flesh was their primary food source. Jack complains, how the hell? Then he stopped and muttered, those 6 scumsuckers. I look at everyone and announce, okay, we've underestimated Megan and her damn narcotic boss too many times, and we've paid too high a price for it. If this scumsucker wants a war, then he's going to get the damn biggest war of his life. Jack, rally everyone that you can, get on the horn with Tom, and tell him we need as many of the SIF's teams as they can spare and find out what the hell they've been doing. But the most important thing is that we need to have guards posted 24/7. I look at the girls and explain, we're going to hide out in the tunnel until my lawyer can fix the legal problems. Present, S.A. Hotchner, investigating at the gate to the cabin. I wake up and I hurt like hell. What's going on? Then I realize some damned rat is biting the hell out of me. I reach for my pistol but discover it's missing, so is my rifle. I jump up and run like hell for the gate, but the damn rat is hot on my heels. Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. It's getting close to dawn, and I do need to catch some sleep before practice today. I head back to Margarita's apartment while the damn little dog follows me. We get to the door, I knock, Margarita opens it. Looks pissed for a minute until she sees the damn little dog, then she picks her up and begins talking to her, and says, Paver asked, where did you find such a nice little dog? I answer, well, she sort of found me. The dog goes over and begins to nose the golden cat that I stole. I plug it into the wall, then she sits in front of it and nods her head in time with the waving paw. Margarita gives me a hell of a hug and kiss and says, thank you for bringing Motita to me. I question, what the hell is Motita? She laughs and says, it's Spanish for little speck. I wave my hand and say, well, it's been a long night and I need to get some sleep before practice today. Margarita says, yes, your exploits tonight were all over the news. However, you burned down the old Donkey Kong playground. Damn, now I know why it seems so familiar to me. I was physically playing Donkey Kong. I head over to the couch and fell asleep right as my head hit the pillow. Present, Stacy and Samantha, escaping from the vets. I wonder how the hell Ben ever put up with me since I was as bad as Sam when I was first together with Ben. At least she listens. I check and find she's finished with Bo and has moved on to Patches without being asked. It's a good thing for her that she made her curry comb mistake with Bo first. If she had done that to Patches, Patches would have bit the hell out of her. I finish heating the MREs, open the packets, and add some wine like Ben used to do. Then I call out, Sam, it's time to eat. She comes over and says, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Bo nickers and Sam seems astonished. Did that horse just understand what I said? I mention, Bo and Patches are pretty damn smart as horses go, so I wouldn't be surprised if he understood at least some of what you said. She takes a bite of her MRE and exclaims, wow, this is really good. From the way the Mossad guys talk, these were barely edible. I explain, they are unless you add a few extra things to them. She asks, was this something else that Ben taught you? I nod affirmatively, then say, well, I need to get the hammock set up for the night. I take a tarp, some rope and tape, climb up in the tree and make a hammock like Ben had done. Then I come down and say, I will take the first watch while you sleep, then it's your turn. She says, good night, Stacy, and thank you for everything. Then she climbs up in the tree and crawls into the hammock. I'm thankful for the silence and wonder. No, I decide that Ben felt the same way about me. No wonder he left me. I was every bit as annoying as Samantha. Well, when I find him, and I will find him, things will be different. I take out Sam's mobile phone and make a very important call. Present, Byron, Tom, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. Something didn't feel right about the sailboat, so I spun the dinghy around and headed back toward the shore, and my feelings are right. The sailboat explodes in a huge fireball. Pieces of sailboat are flying everywhere, and the wave causes the dinghy to capsize. Son of a bitch. The damn dinghy capsizes, and we are in a hell of a fix. With all the gear we have hidden under our fake drunk clothes, we begin to sink like rocks. I start to struggle to drop my gear, but I can't get out of my damn tactical vest. I look over and see Byron is in the same damn fix that I'm in. Then thank God. Inga swims down to me, uses a knife to slice the straps on the tactical vest, and I begin rising toward the surface. She then moves over and helps Byron. We get to the surface and Byron swears, son of a bitch, we've lost all our weapons. Inga counters, no Byron, your .50 caliber is floating right here in its case. Byron swims over to it and says, thanks Inga, for finding it for me. I don't know what I would do if I lost her. I question, so Inga, tell me you have a contingency plan for this. She shakes her head and admits, no I don't. We need to locate an internet cafe so I can contact my superiors. We swim toward the shore using Byron's gun case as a flotation device. Present, Maria, hitching a ride. I'm still pissed as hell at Linus. I get to the highway, stick out my thumb, and it's not long until I have a ride. I take out my cell phone and call my princess boss. She answers and says, Maria, things have gone to hell in a handbasket here, and we need you and Linus' team back here right away. We continue talking. She fills me in on all that's happened, and I decide that she wasn't kidding. We need to get everyone back to the cabin ASAP. I promise her to call Linus when we are done, but first I do all I can to calm her down. Present, Matt, Jim, and Linus headed to Dallas. We jump up to help Linus, who has sort of lost it, and yell, Ura. We're shocked when we hear, Ura, from the semi-truck, and one of them questions, you guys Marines? I yell back, 2 of us are, and the other is a SEAL. How about you? The person laughs, hell yes, we're Marines, but no accounting for your taste traveling with a lowly SEAL. Lower your weapons and come on in. We lower our weapons and walk into the clearing. They meet us and Linus's phone rings. He says, it's Maria, I need to take this. One of the Marines makes the logical assumption. It must be his girlfriend. Jim laughs and explains the whole incident with Maria. We are laughing up a storm when Linus walks back and says, guys, we need to get back to Yen's cabin ASAP. All hell has broken loose there. He goes on to explain the battle with the narcotic cartel army, the bear, the cougar, and the rats. I'm watching the other Marines when Linus finishes. One of them asks, this wouldn't by any chance be Jennifer Donaldson, the old man's daughter that you're talking about? Linus says, hell yes, it's her. She's like my kid sister. The Marines declare, well, they have screwed with the wrong Marine when they screwed with her. You can count all of us in. Then he commands, let's finish cleaning up here and be rolling in 30 minutes. I pull Linus to the side and ask, how was Maria? He states, I explained things to her, and she said we needed to talk when we're together again. I didn't have the heart to tell Linus that when women want to talk, it's almost never a good thing. I get a great idea and suggest, why don't we drop by and pick her up? Linus smiles and agrees. Yeah, let me give her a call. Present, Maria, hitching a ride. I'm a lot less pissed at Linus once he explained what was going on, and I feel a little bad for being such a bitch to him. My phone rings. It's him, so I answer, and he suggests, "Hi, honey. We're bringing a bunch of Marines with us. They have a semi and some cars, and I was wondering if you'd like us to pick you up." I instantly agree. That would be great, and more troops would even be better. I talk to the driver. He pulls over and lets me out of the car, and I wait for Linus in the semi. Present. Jens, at the cabin. The helicopter comes and picks up Alexei, Mira, and Ira, so we head to the cabin. We finally get to the cabin, and I can't believe it. My once beautiful cabin is covered in dead rats, shit, and Lord only knows what else. Jack apologizes. "Sorry, Jens, but it was either them or us." I decide I don't even want to go into the cabin and order. Let's head to the shop and enter the tunnels from there. We head to the side of the cabin, and I see the two scum-suckers that Todd killed. One had a remote control unit that I could only assume was for the animals, and the other had big bags that reeked of rats. I liberate the remote control, and Todd cautions, "Jennifer, there is a chance that remote is rigged to explode if you mess with it." I answer, "Thanks, Todd. Now guys, help me get the lid back on the septic tank." It takes all three of us, but we slide it back in place, and Jack suggests, "Yes, it might be a good idea to weld that closed." I concur. Yeah, I never thought someone would use this to attack us with. We're headed to the shop and run into a few more of the rats that are still alive. Jack begins to beat the shit out of them with the shovel. Now I know why he was carrying it. Todd pulls out a short sword and an arrow. I pull my pistol, and even Zarika and Yasmin shoot them with S.A. Hochner's guns. Once they're dead, I say, "I can see what you mean about these rats. They were only interested in us." We get into the shop, flip on the lights, and thank God there are no rats in here. We head over to the work pit. I walk up to the panel, enter my code. The door opens, and then we barely make it into the tunnels when the alarm sounds, and the tunnel doors lock again. Jack swears, "Jens, I'm going to beat the shit out of this security system again." I question again, "Don't tell me you attacked it once." He replies, "Okay, I'll tell you I attacked it twice. After I beat the shit into it the second time and sparks flew out of it, it started to act right again." Todd signs, "Jack, the sparks were from my stun gun, which forced the system to reboot." I walk to a terminal, enter my code. Things seem to be functioning fine, and inform everyone. Well, it seems to be working okay right now. However, attacking the system is probably what caused all the problems. Jack questions, "Then what triggered the damn horn this time?" I silence the alarm and say, "Someone breached the fence." I prepare to say something else when the alarm triggers again. Present. S.A. Hochner, back at the gate to the cabin. The sun is rising as I beat the rat to the fence, jump over it, which triggers the alarm again, and yell at the deputies, "Kill the damn rat that's following me." They pull their pistols, and one of them says, "Rat? You mean rats?" I turn and see I picked up another 10 or so of the biting scumsuckers. The other deputy asks, "Where the hell are your guns?" I get ready to answer, then I notice a small private plane slowly flying towards us. I question, "Isn't that plane a bit low?" The deputies have killed all the rats, and one of them turns, sees the plane, and says, "What the hell is he pushing out the door?" We watch as what appears to be a weighted balloon floats down from the plane, and I remark, "Now this is strange as hell. It looks like a big damn balloon." The plane heads on toward the cabin and continues to dump balloons until the sky is covered with balloons. The first balloon lands close to us, pops, and oh hell no. I need to get in my car immediately. Present. Jens, in the tunnels. Jack swears, "Jens, I'm going to kill this damn security system." I silence the alarm and reply, "Jack, calm the hell down. The system is working fine." It detected that a low-flying aircraft just breached the property perimeter. I note the direction of the flight as it follows the road and comes over the gate. I flip to the cameras on the front gate and can't believe it. We're under damn attack again. I watch as the unmarked car, probably S.A. Hochner's, crashes into the ambulance as the two deputy cars haul away from the gate. I remember we're all accounted for except. So I question, "Does anyone know where Shark is?" Todd signs, "He and the fox ran off after the man dropped the rat bag." I feel better because I know Anastasia will take care of him. Jack and Masha look at the video feed from the front gate, and Jack asks, "Are those what I think they are?" Masha answers, "Yes, Jack, they are. Please confirm for me, Ms. Donaldson, that the air system for the tunnels is filtered." I enter some commands on the terminal and reply, "Not only is it filtered, I have now closed off the fresh air feed from the outside." Masha wisely, "Soccer mom my butt." Questions, "Will the air be scrubbed for carbon dioxide buildup?" I smile and say, "Hell yes." However, we have a bigger problem. It appears that S.A. Hochner at the front gate might need to be rescued. Jack takes a look at the monitor and says, "There's no way in hell I'm going out into that." Todd signs, "Jennifer, they would most assuredly kill anyone that attempted rescue." I agree. Yeah, I hate to say it, but for right now we're cut off from the outside world. Then I remember, hell, I have Maria and everyone headed back here. Jack states, "If we can't warn them in time, it will be to their death." I pull out my mobile phone and Masha comments, "Those will not work in the tunnels." I smile, enter some commands on the terminal, and say, "They will now?" No one had activated the cellular bridge. Masha questions, "Could you possibly give me the directions to do that and also activate internet access?" I reply, "Let me contact Maria and Ira and warn them first. Then let me check the security system to make sure it hasn't been hacked. Then I will give everyone directions and activate the firewall, giving everyone internet connection." I glance at the feed from the front gate again and shudder. S.A. Hochner's car is totally engulfed. I make a call to Maria and to Ira and tell them under no circumstances to come back to the cabin. Then I wonder, how in the hell are we going to fight this problem? Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. I begin to wake up, but there's a heavy weight on my chest. I open my eyes and find the damn little dog is sleeping on my chest. But more than that, I smell bacon and coffee. I dump the dog on the floor. She growls at me and scratches like dogs do when they piss. I threaten, "Keep it up and I'll take you to the pound." She howls and runs into the kitchen. I follow and see a practically nude Margarita at the stove. The damn dog sees me, whimpers and hides behind Margarita's long, luscious legs. Margarita turns and asks, "What did you say to Motita?" I backpedal. Well, she was acting like the boss and I told her to quit it or I would take her to the pound. The damn dog peeks out from behind Margarita's legs and growls. Margarita scolds, "You apologize to her or you won't get any breakfast." I look at the table and it looks like it had all the makings of being a great breakfast. I reluctantly apologize, "Sorry bitch for threatening you." The damn little dog growls like crazy. Margarita complains, "What did you call her?" I look at the breakfast once more and decide it's not worth it, so I wave my hand and say, "I'm not playing this damn game. I'll see you at rehearsal." Margarita and the damn little dog start to whine as I walk out the front door and slam it. I'm sure as hell not going to put up with that bullshit. Not when I can buy my own damn breakfast. Present, Stacy and Samantha, escaping from the vets. I use Sam's phone to check in on my businesses, not that they need much work. Grandmama set them up so they ran well with only a little oversight from us, just enough oversight to keep them honest. Then I talk to Bill, the head of company security, and ask, "Bill, I was wondering if you know of anyone who's good at finding people." He replied, "Miss Summers, I know some of the best men in the business. Did you need one of them?" I explain, "I need Benny Blaine found." Bill questions, "Isn't he the one that saved your life and you and he spent some time together?" I answer, "Yes, that's him." Bill adds, "Do you want him captured?" While I would like the hell out of that, I know that Ben would fight to the death to keep that from happening. I answer, "No, what I would like is to know his location. And this is important. The person tailing him cannot be seen." Bill questions, "Is there anything else?" I come up with a hell of an idea and have to fight back some giggles when I give him the plan. Yes, tomorrow is going to be very different. Present, Tom, Byron, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. We head toward the beach after the Dingy was capsized, when the damn sailboat exploded, and unlike his usual self, Byron is swearing up a blue streak. I almost feel sympathy for Inga's ears. He swears, "I guess the SOB didn't get my message the first time." Yeah, for Byron this is swearing. Inga foolishly asks, "Byron, who are you talking about?" Byron increases his rants. "That scumsucker damn narcotic dealer. He blew up my beautiful sailboat." I sure wasn't going to tell Byron it wasn't his sailboat. However, Inga steps right into it. "But Byron, that wasn't your sailboat." I want to kick her, but because it further infuriates Byron and he continues, that makes it that much worse because I feel it's my responsibility. I kick the shit out of Inga's leg before she asks Byron what he means because I'm fed up with this bullshit. She yells, Something just bit my leg." "Damn, that only made things worse." Byron yells, "The scumsucker probably has attacked fish." Then pulls his K-bar and dives under the water. I take the opportunity to order, "Inga, you need to shut the hell up. Byron's worked up enough without you making it worse." Like the blonde she is, she answers in confusion, "Tom, what are you talking about?" I want to clock the hell out of her, but she's been through enough, so I try to explain, "Listen, all your questions are just making Byron more upset, and if he gets any more upset, he's going to do something stupid." I surface just in time to hear, "He's going to do something stupid." I smack Tom on the back of the head and order, "Well, it's not like you're doing shit. So shut the hell up, stop your inane whining, and help me with this mission." I continue my orders. "Listen, the weakness in this damn narcotic dealer is distance. He's set up for close action combat, and Betsy and I blew the hell out of him once. And now we're going to blow his, but back to hell where it belongs. Here's what I need from you. I need a hell of a lot more 50 cal rounds. I don't give a damn what type they are, M2 ball, tracers, incendiary, it doesn't matter." Inga questions, "How many more rounds do you need?" I think for a moment as we continue to paddle toward the shore and say, "I would like 10 ammo boxes." Tom states, "It's a good thing he didn't complain. That's 1,000 rounds." I smile at them and say, that's right. I'm going to rain a hell down on the scumsucker like he's never seen. Damn, I've never seen Byron like this. He dropped the F-bomb how many times? I know he was a real hell raiser, heartbreaker when he was in the Corps, but he has mellowed with age, and I always counted on him to keep me on an even keel. Now the roles are reversed, and I have no idea how to shut off this war machine. Present, Maria, waiting for Linus. I'm waiting for Linus to pick me up, and my princess boss calls. Maria, listen to me. I don't have much time, but whatever you guys do not come back to the cabin. I question, Jens, what the hell is going on? She states, we're under attack again, and if you guys show up here you will be killed. Now I need to call Ira and tell her not to come back to the cabin after she, Mira, and Alexei are released from the hospital. I begin to ask why the hell they are in the hospital, but Jens hangs up the phone. Damn, I hate it when she gets this way. I should kick here, but again when I do get back to the cabin. I look down the highway and I can't believe what I see. The front car pulls up, stops, and present, Matt, Maria, Jim, and Linus headed back to the cabin. We see Maria standing by the road. Jim pulls up, stops the car. I open the door, grin, and ask, hey cutie, you look like you need a ride. She looks amazed and says, what the hell is all of this? I nonchalantly mention, oh, just a few friends we picked up on the way. It seems that Jens has a few friends from the Corps that heard she was in trouble and needs some help. Present, Maria, with Linus. I look and all I can see for miles are headlights and state, a few friends my butt. You must have half the state of Texas. Matt laughs. Yeah, you know, once a Marine, always a Marine. We mentioned to the truckers what had been going on. They got on the CB, and the next thing we knew, we had a whole convoy. I smile and say, well, we might need all of them. I guess there's some sort of new attack going on at the cabin. Linus slaps his head and says, damn, a bear, cougar, rats, what the hell is left? I shake my head. She was being her usual self and didn't go into details. She did say we shouldn't go to the cabin. Linus thinks for a moment and says, screw that shit. We have enough men and weapons here to fight any damn war the scumsucker wants to start. Now get your sweet butt in here and let's roll. I like it when my man gets bossy. I jump in the car. Linus picks up the CB radio and says, breaker you all. Looks like it's not over. I just heard that Jennifer Donaldson and her cabin are under a new attack. Someone answers, that's scumsucker. Okay you all, I have her cabin in my GPS, let me take the lead and try to keep up. A damn big truck flies past us. Jim floors it, and try to keep up is an understatement. I didn't know semis could go this damn fast. Present, Ira, Mira, and Alexei, in transit to the hospital. Thank God Ms. Donaldson had the forethought to call a helicopter for transport. I must do something. I fear I owe her a tremendous debt. I continue to comfort Mira and Alexei during the flight and monitor their vitals. Mira pulls me close and whispers in our special language. Ira the nurse mentioned the most troubling factoid. She told me my progeny was Nubian. I blink my eyes several times in disbelief and reply, Marinka, I am certain I obtained the correct male procreation component. She smiles and affirms, my sister of that factoid, I am not in doubt. I question if the nurse committed an error because of Ben's American Indian heritage. I attempt to comfort her, my sister, I am certain this is the situation. However, I will apply myself to the resolution of this matter. Marinka informs me, they did convey the fetus for genetic testing. However, they promised no desecration would occur. I promise, Marinka, if they desecrate the fetus, I will disembowel them. We commence the landing so things become meddlesome. However, I could not remove the look of fear in my sister's eyes when she conveyed her message. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I was talking to Masha in the hallway when she dropped a bomb on me. I gasped, does this mean that you're leaving the company? She smiled at me and answered, yes, Tatiana, I must. You know our superiors will never accept a situation where I am married to Jack and do not feed them information. And feeding their insatiable appetite for information from Jack is something I will never do. To do that would break the sacred trust of marriage. I questioned, but who will be my new handler? Will I be forced to provide them with information acquired from Ben? Masha promised, I will make sure your new handler is a well-briefed professional, and if you remember, Ben was able to successfully resist the advances of Miranda. So, when you fail, it will not reflect poorly on you. I was heartened that Masha was instructing me to ignore attempting to entice information from Ben, which made me feel better. However, I hated the fact I would lose her as my supervisor since she was regarded as one of our finest field agents. And there was still much I needed to learn from her. I hugged her and, flashback, Masha, at the hospital. Tatiana hugged me, for which I was slightly surprised, and then cried, Masha, I will miss you. Jack walks into the hallway and questions, hey, what's going on? Why is Tatiana crying? I slightly improvised. She is just happy for our upcoming wedding because I want her to be my maid of honor. Jack declared, This will be perfect. Ben will be the best man, and now Tatiana will be the maid of honor. Ben's asking if he can get cleaned up some, and I think it's the perfect time for us to get you a ring. I smiled at Tatiana and said, in Russian, be careful with Ben's back. She blushed. I grabbed Jack's hand, and we departed for some jewelry stores. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I was just getting ready to jump up and head to the bathroom when I heard a noise at the door. Then Tatiana scolded, Ben, don't tell me you were going to try to get out of your bed. What did I tell you? I laughed. Well, you were busy. I smell terrible and need a shower. So, how about you help me into the shower? She scolded, Ben, you will not get out of the bed and take a shower. I will give you a sponge bath in the bed, then we will change the sheets. I complained, taking a sponge bath is like screwing with a condom. She lightly tapped my face and stated, and if you get out of that bed, you might not ever have coitus again. Besides, you have never experienced a sponge bath from me. I taunted, oh yeah, well I've had many sponge baths in the past, so how is yours going to be different? She gave me a kiss full of promise on my lips and suggested, you will just have to see. Now I'm going to call an orderly to make sure you stay in bed while I'm gone. I questioned, why don't you get Jack to help with that? She giggled, because he and Masha are shopping for rings. And you should know as you are the best man. I am going to be the maid of honor. I informed her, the only way I'm going to be the best man is if I can walk by then. She promised, oh do not worry, I will make sure that you walk, along with other things by then. I heard her leave and continued with my plans to get to the bathroom when I heard, in Russian, what the hell are you doing? Damn, busted again. I figured it was a guy, so I said, I need a bedpan. You let him take care of my shit so Tatiana didn't have to. Flashback, Masha, ring shopping. Jack was being true to his word. With Ben and Tatiana occupied, he wanted to purchase me a ring. We walked out of the hospital hand in hand and strolled down the street. I had no idea where any jewelry stores were located and was surprised when we appeared in front of one. I looked at Jack, saw he was grinning, so I questioned, how did you know? He smiled and explained, well, when I was on the computers in the internet cafe, I just happened to do a search for jewelry stores in this town. I kissed him on the lips and said, you are going to be so fortunate tonight. He hugged me and declared, hell, just having you with me makes me the most fortunate man in the world. We went inside the store and began to shop, while I also considered special ways to show Jack my love tonight. Flashback, Major M, at the hotel. I started to shower and complained, what sort of dump is this place? There's no hot water. The bony bitch yelled through the door, well, if you'd done your research on Russia like you should have, you would have known that all Russian cities have central hot water and they shut it off for a week twice a year to clean the pipes. Besides, why are you so worried about the cold water since it can't shrink it any smaller than it already is? That bitch. I don't know how, but somehow I will get even for that comment. Besides, her gash had been used so many times that it was larger than the Grand Canyon. The worst part of cold water showers was getting the soap to lather up well. I was almost done when she banged on the door and yelled, what the hell is taking you so long? You'd better not be whacking off in the shower. I thought, with you out there was no need for that to happen. I finished my shower and worked on my plan to take care of this bitch. Flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hotel. Damn, I needed to thank the hell out of Glenn for giving me this assignment. I had waited for years to get even with this scumsucker, and the revenge I was getting now was better than I imagined it would be, but it was just beginning. The Major came out of the bathroom wearing a towel, so I said, why so shy, Major? It's not like I haven't seen that tiny thing before. He turned about 5 shades of red and started, about that night. I interrupted, please, Major, I've done my best to forget that terrible night, and I sure don't want to talk to you about it. Now get your butt dressed so we can head to the hospital. I can't believe you haven't made it there yet to congratulate your SGTS, especially since they made you look so good. He took his clothes, went into the bathroom, and it was all I could do to keep from laughing my butt off. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Now that's what I call a sponge bath and a half. I think we did almost everything except have sex, Tatiana said with a slight giggle in her voice. Now we need some assistance to get your sheets changed. She must have pressed the call button because I heard some people come into the room. She directed them how to help turn me in one motion. They turned me while I gritted my teeth and moaned. Tatiana immediately asked, Ben, are you okay? I fought out the words, oh yeah, I'm great. She said, we really should get your doctor in here to look at your bandages. He might want them changed. I heard a new voice. Well then, let me see those bandages. I asked for clarification, you aren't Dr. Kiorov. He replied, that's right, I am Dr. Mikhail Voskoboynikov, and I'm here to operate on your back. Now let us take a look at my new patient. He began to screw with my back, and it hurt like hell. I tried to move, and he ordered, Sergeant Blaine, stay still. Then he questioned, when was the last time this man had something to control pain? Tatiana replied, I believe he had one shot early this morning and hasn't requested any since then. He scolded, "Are you crazy? With this pain, he should receive pain medication automatically." I didn't like the tone he used with Tatiana, so I explained, "Excuse me, doctor. Don't yell at Tatiana because it's my fault. I don't like taking narcotics for pain." I could feel the bandages come off my back, and the doctor said, "How many times have these been changed?" Tatiana said, "Dr. Kiorov ordered that the dressings should not be changed." I heard some swear words which he said under his breath. Then he sent Tatiana out for some supplies. When we were alone, he said, "Sergeant Blaine, I apologize for the lack of care my colleague provided. However, I will rectify that oversight." I asked, "So then tell me, doctor, is it really as bad as I've heard?" He explained, "Yes, Sergeant Blaine, it is very bad. However, it is hopeful that you do have feeling below the waist. Tell me, is it really true that you stood for President Putin and also told him his Russian was almost perfect?" I bragged, "Hell yeah. There was no way I was going to stay seated when he was here." Dr. Voskoboynikov continued, "And the comment about his Russian?" I laughed. Well, I sort of use humor to mask the pain. Tatiana arrived, and the doctor pulled off the dressings. I swore, "Son of a bitch, that hurts." The doctor stated, "And it would also appear you also use swearing to mask pain." I laughed. "No, that I do for fun." He questioned, "Nurse, what happened to your hands?" Tatiana said, "I was Ben's flight nurse and cut my fingers removing the ceramic shards from his back." What he said next told me he was one hell of a doctor. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. Dr. Mikhail Voskoboynikov examined my hands and instructed, "Nurse, once I'm done with Sergeant Blaine, I want to take a look at your hands to ensure there's no nerve damage." Ben frowned. "Doctor, she hasn't mentioned anything about her hands." The doctor responded, "Of course not. Nurses often continue working even when they're in pain. But I can see that her bandages are wet, likely from assisting with your care, and that won't happen again." I felt a little disappointed. I had actually enjoyed helping Ben. Once the doctor finished changing Ben's dressings, we carefully turned him to his other side, replaced his sheets, and settled him back onto his back. Dr. Voskoboynikov then picked up a needle. "Sergeant Blaine, I need you to tell me if you feel this." He lightly pricked Ben's right foot. Ben jerked and snapped. "Hell yes, I felt that." "Do it again, and I might just kick you with it." Dr. Voskoboynikov moved to Ben's left leg, pricked his foot, and Ben stated, "Now that's better. Thank you for not jabbing me again." I looked at the doctor, he smiled, and said, "Well, Sergeant, you have reduced sensation in your left leg." Ben interrupted, "If you had asked me, I could have told you that." Dr. Voskoboynikov continued, "However, that you have feeling at all is a very good sign. Now, nurse, let me look at those hands." Flashback, Masha, back at the hospital. Jack bought me the most beautiful and shockingly large ring. I was amazed how much it cost, but Jack didn't even blink. We walked back to the hospital, and I finally felt like his fiancée, so I hugged his arm tightly. We walked into Ben's room, and I noticed a new doctor was looking at Tatiana's hands. He scolded her, "Nurse, you should know better than to let your hands get in this condition." Ben complained, "Doctor, what's wrong with her hands?" He answered, "Well, it's obvious she's been busy taking care of you and not taking care of herself." I laughed when Ben suggested, "Well, you could have a second bed pulled into this room and put her on bed rest." Ben heard me and questioned, "Masha, you're back. Is Jack here too?" Jack replied, "Shit, Ben, she held my arms so tight since I bought her the ring. I thought she'd become part of it." Ben laughed, "I want to see the ring." The doctor stated, "Now that I'm done with your nurse Tatiana, we do need to examine those eyes." Ben asked, "How are her hands?" The doctor replied, "They will be fine, but she needs to change the dressing more frequently. Nurse, please turn off the lights while I remove the bandages on his eyes." Flashback, Jack, back at the hospital. The doctor was going to remove the bandages from Ben's eyes, and I was damn happy. I never told him, but he looked like someone had transplanted a mummy's head on a human body. But if we were going to continue as a team, he needed to have his vision. He began to remove the dressing, and Ben swore, "Damn it." The doctor replied, "Sorry about that, but your skin has began to heal from the flash burns and is embedded in the dressing." "Tatiana, how often was this dressing changed?" She replied, "Never." The new doctor said some more words under his breath. I leaned over and asked, "Masha, did he just say son of a bitch?" She nodded, and I added, "After we see how Ben's eyes are, I need to go take care of something." She gave me a knowing look and promised, "Jack, we will take care of your problem together." The bandages were off, and surprisingly Ben didn't look that much worse for the wear. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I don't like doctors, but I like the hell out of this doctor. Hell, he took care of Tatiana and even swore when he didn't like how something was done. Plus, for a doctor, he was gentle as hell. Shit, most of them yanked bandages off with no regard for how you felt. He finally got the bandages off my head and eyes, then said, "I want you to slowly open your eyes and tell me if you see anything." I opened my eyes and, Flashback, Glenn. I sat at the damn table eating my PB&J and drinking skim milk when Jennifer walked in the kitchen. She looked at what I was doing and scolded me. Daddy, what the heck are you doing? I complained. I was hungry, and there's no damn way I'm eating rice cakes, but this PB&J was all I could find to eat. She folded her arms across her chest, tapped her foot, and ordered, "Well, if you leave the kitchen for a few minutes, I will make you a real sandwich. You shouldn't be eating a PB&J." Now this was news to me. Somewhere in this damn kitchen was real food. I went back into the living room, turned on the TV, and the next thing I knew. Flashback, Jens. Sometimes I couldn't believe my father. Eating a PB&J sandwich. Oh, I know they can be good for you, but not when there's more J than PB. I made sure Daddy was really in the living room, went into the refrigerator, looked way in the back, opened the container marked sprouts, and pulled out some healthy lunch meat. I then took a couple slices of bread, toasted them, added some Grey Poupon, and fought back giggles at the name. Then added the healthy lunch meat and cheese. I then put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to melt the cheese. While his sandwich heated, I went into the vegetable crisper drawer, took out a light beer, opened it, and when the microwave dinged, I grabbed the plate and headed into the living room. Daddy saw me and demanded, "Where the hell did you hide all this?" I answered, "That's for me to know and for you to not find out." Then he complained, "But light beer, that's almost as bad as water." I threatened, "Okay, I will pour it down the sink and get you some water." He immediately offered to sacrifice. "No, I guess it's open, so now I'll just have to drink it." I gave him his snack and said, "Okay, I'm headed back to my room to study." He said, "Thanks for the snack." Flashback, Safia, Ira, and Mira, in Israel. The twins were driving me crazy with their endless debate about donkeys and carts, so I finally shouted, "Come on, you two, get moving. The Stay Puft guy is getting away with the cart." Safia was right. The Stay Puft figure was making off with the cart. I glanced at Mira and asked, "Mira, is this yet another interpretation of the word cart that we haven't accounted for?" Mira chuckled. "Maybe Safia thinks your seat requires extra reinforcement?" I smirked. "Well, she used the plural form, so that must include your seat too. Besides, you know ours are of equal size." The three of us quickly recovered the runaway cart. Safia jumped into the seat and decisively hit the stun control. Myra's Stay Puft cart thief groaned and slumped to the ground. Mira turned to Safia and asked, "Safia, did you just make this situation even more complicated?" Safia sighed, ignored the question, and declared, "We need to fix the Stay Puft cart. It's shared property." We hurried to the front of the cart and found that Myra's Stay Puft troublemaker wasn't doing too well. I looked at Mira and asked, "Would you like to perform first aid?" Mira grimaced. "That's not something I'm eager to do." Safia groaned. "You two are impossible. Step aside and let me handle it." I exchanged a glance with Mira, and she giggled. One more meaning for the word cart. It seems like there's no limit to its uses. I nodded. Maybe we should focus and actually help Safia fix this overly complicated situation. Flashback, Major M, at the hospital. We finally arrived at the hospital after that overly meticulous officer made me polish my dress shoes twice. Yeah, she had some serious karma coming her way. Recognizing our uniforms, the staff gave us Sergeant Blaine's room number, and we took the elevator up to his floor. When we stepped into the room, it was pitch dark. I reached over, flipped on the lights, and suddenly, chaos erupted. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. That clueless major just barged into the dark room right as the new, and surprisingly skilled, doctor was examining Ben's eyes. And what did the genius do? He flipped on the lights. I didn't care if he outranked me. At that moment, I was ready to have some serious words with him. I got close, recognized his companion, snapped to attention, and saluted her. She smiled at me and returned the salute. Now what the hell was she doing here? Then I immediately turned off the lights. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. Some fool turned on the lights right as Dr. Voskoboynikov examined Ben's eyes. I feared that damage might occur, so I pressed my chest against his face and was shocked at what happened next. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Damn, it felt good to finally have all that gear off my head. I was just getting a good look at Tatiana when someone switched on the lights, and she instinctively pressed against me. She jumped slightly in surprise, and I couldn't help but laugh. This would be even better if I could see the look in your green eyes. After the lights went off again, she stepped away, and the doctor asked, "You could tell her eyes were green? How well can you see?" I answered, "Well, my right eye isn't bad, but my left eye is pretty blurry." The doctor told Tatiana to grab an eye chart, and as she left the room, I couldn't help but appreciate the view as she walked away. That's when I noticed the major, and right next to him. Oh great, what was a full bird colonel doing here? I felt a little better when I saw Jack talking to her. He hated high-ranking officers even more than I did, so if he was willing to speak with her, She couldn't be all that bad. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. After the formalities of the salute, Maggie said, "At easy, Sergeant, and feel free to use my first name." I looked at Major M, and it was obvious he didn't like the situation one bit, so I asked the $64 million question, "What are you doing here, Maggie?" She gestured toward Major M and stated, "The old man was tired of the cluster shit the Major pulled, so he sent me over to fix the situation. Now how is your sniper doing?" Ben heard the question and spouted, "I'm fit as a fiddle, ma'am, and look to be back on duty in a couple weeks." She ordered, "Major, if it's possible, make yourself useful, then make sure some other idiot doesn't turn on the lights." Then she walked over to the side of the bed while Ben gave her one of his goofy grins and asked, "Jack, could you help me stand so I can salute the colonel?" Tatiana picked that time to walk back into the room and flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hospital. It was good to see Sergeant Reynolds again. And yes, I wasn't blind and noticed the sweet young thing that paid him too much attention, and the huge rock on her finger. I would deal with that later, but first I needed to meet and congratulate the Corps' newest hero. I had read his file, and I have to say, it was either a stroke of genius or pure luck that he teamed up with Jack. They were cut from the same cloth and had some remarkable accomplishments under their belts. He asked Jack to help him stand up at the same time the nurse came back, and I thought it was going to be World War III. She rushed to the side of the bed and began to swear at him in Russian, threatening him if he ever wanted any again, he'd better keep his butt in the bed where he belonged. Shit, I liked the hell out of her. When she was done, I introduced myself in Russian and gloated as she turned about 50 shades of red. The doctor was much more diplomatic and simply asked the nurse, "Are you telling me you two had sexual relations?" Sergeant Blaine interrupted in much better Russian than mine. "Doctor, while I like you and think you're a fine doctor, that's none of your damn business." I appreciated the hell out of this doctor when he explained, "Sorry, Sergeant Blaine, my interest was strictly medical. If this fact is true, then there is even greater hope that you will regain full use of your legs. But Tatiana is correct, you need to remain in bed." Tatiana added, "Remember, you promised to stay in bed. If you break your promise, then I will get the restraints." With the excitement over, I could now do what I needed to do. I looked Sergeant Blaine in the eyes and announced, "Sergeant Blaine, in recognition of service to your country, on foreign soil against a joint enemy, the United States of America awards you the Navy Cross." I handed Sergeant Blaine the decoration and further added, "And in recognition of the wounds which you received, we also present you with the Purple Heart. Now, Sergeant Blaine, we look forward to a swift and full recovery from all your injuries, because you are a valuable asset to the Corps and we do not want to lose you." Flashback, Major M, at the hospital. This is FUBAR. The Sergeant Blaine screwed up to the max, broke damn near every regulation in the book while in a foreign country, and came out of it smelling like a rose. The colonel continued, "Now, Sergeant Blaine, if your doctor would permit, I would like you to wear these sunglasses while we get some pictures of this occasion." The doctor must have agreed, because then his nurse said something and spent a few minutes trying to make his ugly mug look presentable. She helped him put on the glasses, and the bony bitch ordered me, "Major, please turn on the lights," and asked the news crews to come into the room. I flipped on the light, looked in the hallway, and it was jam-packed with reporters. I motioned to them and was damn near trampled as they rushed into the room. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. The colonel moved over beside me, smiled, and said, "You trained him well, Jack. By the way, why don't you introduce me to your fiancé?" I sputtered, "How could you tell?" Maggie laughed. "Well, I've never seen you happier, and it wasn't hard to figure out why when I saw her buzzing around you like a bee." I introduced, "Maggie, this is my fiancée Masha." The two of them started talking in Russian. It sounded like Maggie was getting an earful, so I moved over by the major. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. I understood why this woman was sent here. She was assigned to fix the major problems the major created. So I used this opportunity to inform her of how the major was going to keep us from getting married, even though President Putin had agreed to it. She answered, "Honey, don't you worry about the major. I have him on a short leash, and he's not going to interfere with the two of you." Then I decided I'd better inform her of how I assaulted the major. When I had completed my tale, she broke out in laughter, then bit her tongue, and said, "Honey, I would have paid good money to have seen you do that. He always was too big for his britches." I decided I liked this Colonel Maggie. Flashback, Major M, at the hospital. Sergeant Reynolds came over by me, motioned toward Masha and the bony bitch, and asked, "I wonder what she's telling the colonel?" Shit, we both knew what was going on, so I said, "Sergeant, cut the crap. You know she's telling the colonel that I threatened to stop your marriage." He smiled at me and explained, "I don't think you know, but Colonel Maggie and I go way back." I understood the threat, then he continued, "Oh, and if I remember right, a certain admiral is holding a certain document for Ben and me." I negotiated, "Okay, Sergeant, you have my attention. What do you want?" He smiled and stated, "That's simple, sir. All we want to do is to be left alone to do our job. Look, we don't know if Ben is ever going to walk again or even see right again, but he's getting a hell of a lot better medical care here than in the States. And I figure the odds for a full recovery are better here than if he's moved back to the States. So when this all blows over, you and the Colonel need to get the hell out of here and leave us alone." I questioned, "And your marriage?" He motioned to the bony bitch and stated, "I think that's out of your hands, so yes, I will be marrying Masha. Well, she mentioned to me the FSB had a video of the whole incident between you and her. I understood that if I didn't want that video to see daylight, then I needed to back off. Well, I still had my ace in the hole with Sergeant Blaine. I got ready to answer when there was a hell of a noise in the hallway. Flashback, Glenn. Damn, now this is a hell of a good sandwich, but it's too bad about the light damn beer. But hey, at least it's some kind of beer. I thought about heading into the damn kitchen and figuring out where the hell everything was hidden when a special report came on. Hot damn, it's Sergeant Blaine in Russia. Flashback, Jens. I got an email from Megan that my Ben is on the television. I ran downstairs and Daddy was watching it, and I saw Ben held 3 medals, so I asked, "Daddy, what medals are those?" He said, "Hi, Jennifer. The first one is a Purple Heart for his injuries, the other is a Navy Cross, and the last one is the Hero of the Russian Federation award that President Putin gave him." I looked as hard as I could, but I didn't see the flowers I sent. However, I did see that Russian female dog in the background. She tried to steal my Ben's glory. Oh, was I ever going to fix her? But Ben looked so good without his bandages. Flashback, Safia, Ira, and Mira, in Israel. I made a big mistake when I shocked the oversized man and accidentally caused his heart to stop. Panicked, I started pushing on his chest the way I'd seen in movies, but it wasn't working. Ira knelt beside me and ordered, "Move over, I'll take care of this." I quickly stepped aside as she placed her hands differently and pressed down with all her might. After a few tense moments, the man gasped and started breathing again. Relief washed over me. "Thanks, Ira. You really saved me there." Mira smirked. "See, Ira? I told you, there are endless ways to use certain expressions. In this case, it means you protected her from trouble." The man groaned, so Ira quickly removed the tape from his mouth. "Please, no more." He gasped. "I'll tell you whatever you want." I stepped forward. "We need to know where my sister is. And you better not be lying." Mira nodded. "That's right. If you try to deceive us, we'll be back, and it won't end well for you." Ira added with a grin, "Or until everything is completely messed up." He hurriedly gave us an address, and I exchanged a glance with the twins. They nodded. "Safia, that would be a logical place for your sister to be. Let's get ready and go rescue her." The man groaned again. "What about me?" Mira waved him off. "You're not our concern anymore." As we started to leave, I hesitated. "What about Myra's situation?" Mira sighed. "Unfortunately, when this guy threw me to the ground, it ruined any chance of salvaging the situation." Ira chuckled. "Safia, any other clever remarks you want to add?" I considered it, but shook my head. Honestly, all this wordplay has given me a headache. Present, Jens, in the tunnels. I've been busy as hell. After I made sure Maria or the twins and Alexei won't come back to the cabin, I purged the security system, reloaded the image in the virtual server, and verified it is working correctly. Then I enabled the mobile phone bridge and internet access. Now I'm pissed as hell as I watch the video monitor from the meadow in front of the cabin. A swarm attacks and kills an elk while Jack comments, "Those have to be killer bees." Ben and I ran into them once in South America, and we were lucky to survive. Masha concurs, "Yes, and I would estimate there are millions of them which will probably disrupt the entire ecology of Colorado." Yeah, the scumsuckers dropped balloons filled with Africanized honeybees. When the balloons popped, the pissed-off bees attacked anything and everything that moved. It didn't take long for the birds to flee the area. However, the bigger wildlife can't move fast enough, and a wholesale slaughter is going on. I pray like hell that Anastasia and Sharik are bedded down someplace safe. I watch as swarms continue their attack and comment, "Well, at least they are killing the last of the damn rats." Masha questions, "What will the nighttime low temperature be tonight?" I check and reply, "I'm sure you know that they have been found in the Andes in South America, so it won't be cold enough to kill them tonight. However, it will be cold enough to make them lethargic." Masha states, "Yes, Ms. Donaldson. Of that fact I was aware, however I hoped that we could purge and possibly close up the house to prevent their entry." I switched the video feed to inside the cabin, and the scumsuckers look damn comfortable. I see something else that bothers the hell out of me. Then a possible solution comes to mind. Present, Jack, in the tunnels. Jens questions, "Are those cockroaches in the cabin?" Masha and I look at the video feed, and I confirm, "Yeah, I would say they are." "Damn, that one is nearly as big as a palmetto bug." She swears, "Those scumsuckers. Some of the balloons must have had cockroaches in them." Masha adds, "Jack, a palmetto bug is nothing but an armored, flying cockroach. We must not underestimate our adversary again. If they released cockroaches, they will not be normal cockroaches. I speculate. Yeah, I bet they are infected with some nasty shit. Masha concurs and enumerates. Yes, that is a valid assumption since cockroaches have been known to harbor salmonella, cholera, typhoid, dysentery, hepatitis, and some from South America have even contained traces of the HIV virus. I add, and there's no telling what shit they're picking up from the dead rats. Jens declares, I hate cockroaches. I think I will crank up the air conditioning to max in the cabin, perhaps that will drive them out. I look at the video feed and wonder if we should just set the whole damn cabin on fire and start over again from scratch. Present, Masha, in the tunnels. If this wasn't so vile, I would applaud the ingenuity of the attacks we faced. We had been trapped in the tunnels like rats in a cage. I began to process the thought, and what I realized severely concerns me. I announce, Ms. Donaldson, I would like to call a group meeting. Ms. Donaldson questions, Masha, what's wrong? I state, I am extremely uncomfortable with the current situation, and it would be better if we could discuss it as a group. We all meet in the large conference room, and I begin. I am concerned that the attacks have been directed in such a way as to force us into the tunnels. Ms. Donaldson, who else has knowledge of the tunnel system? She replies, well, of course, the contractor who built them. Why are you so concerned? I answer, so far the narcotic lord has kept us on the defensive, but perhaps he has further plans on how to infiltrate the tunnels? We need to determine if there are any weaknesses in the design of the tunnels. Ms. Donaldson begins to reply when something negative happens. Present, Jens, in the tunnels. Damn it to hell and back. We've just had a hell of a power glitch. I order, wait a minute. I try to operate the terminal, and it's behaving weirdly. I finally get the video feed of the outside power poles, and the damn swarms are shorting out the transformers. But that shouldn't cause a power glitch. The generator should take over. I try to access the terminal, but it's slow as hell, so I complain. What the hell is wrong with this damn security system? The klaxon sounds again, and Jack offers, I'll beat the shit out of it again. Todd signs, Jennifer, it is not Jack this time, but the security system is under attack. I realize he's right, and I question, but how? I am able to put the video feed on slow scan where it switches between all the cameras. It goes past one camera, and I question, did you see that? Everyone draws around the terminal. We wait for the video feed to cycle again, and Jack swears, the mothers are shorting out the terminal I destroyed. Yeah, Jack's right. The damn bees and filthy cockroaches are trying to stay warm on the electronics of the destroyed terminal, and I can only assume they are doing the same on the terminal Todd destroyed. Just when I can't think of how it will get worse. Present, Todd, in the tunnels. The power totally fails, the lights dim, and then I assume a generator takes over because the lights return to full power. However, I have a huge concern. I sign, Jennifer, please inform me the generator is housed in its own building. Jennifer replies, no, they are in metal enclosures outside. Masha, being who she is, realizes what I am leading to, and she cautions, Ms. Donaldson, the bees will swarm the generator and soon disable it. Do you possibly have a contingency plan for this event? Present, Jens, in the tunnels. Hell no, I don't have a contingency plan for any of these events. Who in the hell would think we would be attacked by a killer bear, a killer cougar, rats, and now killer bees and cockroaches? I watch the video feed as it switches past the generator and realize Todd and Masha are correct. The bees have already begun to swarm on the generator. I look at everyone and say, hell no, I don't have a contingency plan for this, and yes, the generator and security system will fail. However, this does not mean that we will be dead in the water. Masha, you have command here. Jack and Todd follow me. I run down the hallways fast enough so they can barely keep up. I enter the power distribution room and order, okay, you two gurus need to figure out how to get the portable generator hooked up to the carbon dioxide scrubber. Make sure to vent its exhaust outside, and if you can keep the security system up, that would be a bonus. They both start working and Jack asks, what are you going to do? I gulp and reply, something I never dreamed I would have to do. Present, Masha, in the tunnels. I am observing the cameras when they all go dead, but the instant before they die, I realize what Ms. Donaldson performed. It was a very wise and heroic act. I only hope it can save us. Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. I had a hell of a good breakfast, shot the shit with some great guys, and even made it to practice early. My friend the janitor brings me a cup. I look at him and question, you got anything stronger to put in this? He laughs and admits, yes, I heard you had a rough night. It's a shame about the old Donkey Kong Play Center, but I guess you showed those women. He pulls out a flask, tops off my cup and smiles at me. Things are going fine until the two bitches walk in, Margarita and Motita. The janitor takes one look at them and says, man, I don't know what you did to them, but it had to be bad. By the way, I always have an extra cot here. He wisely leaves as they walk over, and Margarita begins to complain, Pavarast. I glare at her, and for once she shuts up. The damn little dog gets all huffy, so I stare her down too. I drink the rest of my laced coffee, head to the stage, and have a hell of a practice. And hell no, I don't sit by Margarita or the damn dog for lunch. I grab 2 plates full of food and head to find the janitor. Present, Stacy and Samantha, escaping from the vets. It's morning and Sam finally wakes up, looks over the edge of the tarp and questions, I thought I was going to pull watch last night. I'm tired as hell from being up all night, but remember to be kind, because of Ben, and explain, Sam, there's been a slight change in plans today. I have some friends coming soon to help us, so I decided to let you sleep. She stretches and remarks, wow, did I ever sleep well in this hammock you rigged up? I reply, yeah, that was one more thing Ben taught me. She slowly climbed down the tree and said, boy, do I need the bathroom. I thought, join the club, you should try being preggers. I suggest, I've been using the bush over there. Don't forget to take a pistol. I hand her a pistol and she says, thanks Stacy, you're a real friend. Wow, Stacy is being so nice to me. She even let me sleep in. I finish my morning duties and offer, I will make breakfast today. Stacy smiles, but says, Sam, my team is bringing us breakfast. I wonder what the hell she means, but then a bunch of vehicles drive up. I begin to worry it might be Frank and the Mossad, but Stacy seems very relaxed. In fact, when she walks to the lead vehicle, a man jumps out and states, Miss Summers, here are your weapons. I watch as he hands her the golden rifle and her 2 pistols. I question, I thought the news crew had those. He smiles and says, had is the key word. I continue, but they are Mossad. He laughs, yeah, so what? I am confused as I watch what transpires. They unload another horse, several pack animals, and someone goes over to look at Ben's horse. They begin to set up a tent. Stacy comes over, hands me my phone, and says, Sam, you can keep this phone, however they will track you with it. I question, what are you going to do? She laughs, I'm going to sleep. If I were you, I would get used to your new horse. I look at the man who seemed to be in command, and he greets me. My name is Bill, and I am the head of security for Miss Summers. Now let me introduce you to your new horse. Present, Byron, Tom, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. We make it to the beach. I look at Tom and Inga and order, well, get your rears in gear and find me some damn ammo. Inga questions, do we have any funds? I open Betsy's case, pull out my emergency stash of Krugerrands, hand half to Tom, half to Inga, and order, well, what's the damn holdup? Tom questions, where are you going? I scan the horizon, locate the tallest building, and state, I'm going to be on the roof of that building. Now move it. Damn, Byron is serious about this, and I hope to hell he knows what he's doing. I take off, pull out my phone, try to call the cabin, but still no one answers. Byron has provided me with enough funds to not only purchase his ammo, I believe I can also come up with a surprise that he will like. Tom makes a call on his phone, but doesn't get an answer, so he calls someone else. He hangs up and says, damn, all hell is breaking loose in America again. I question, please explain. Tom states, I guess Jennifer and the cabin have been under constant attack for days now from this damn narcotic lord. I grow concerned about Masha and know I must stop by an internet cafe to contact her. Present, Maria, Linus, Matt, and Jim at the cabin. I think we have set some sort of record for getting from Texas to Colorado. Not only that, we've gained a whole bunch more Marines in the process. I'm not even sure how many we have now. Most of them said something like, you don't screw with America's sweetheart and expect not to have your butt kicked. Linus orders, okay guys, let us take the lead to the cabin gate. Jim passes the semis. We take the lead and approach the gate. There's an ambulance and car blocking the gate, and I question, what the hell is wrong with that car? Jim stops suddenly, which damn near causes a huge wreck, and declares, it's covered with bees. Linus adds, no, it's covered with killer bees. He gets on the CB and announces, okay guys, it looks like we have a huge swarm of killer bees to take care of. Anyone have any ideas? Someone answers back, well, we have a few M2 flamethrowers that should take care of those damn bees. In wonder I think, shit, who the hell thought to bring flamethrowers? An old truck pulls up, a couple grizzled old Marines get out and begin laughing. Hell, who'd have thought we'd ever get a chance to use these again? The other one answers, and to think you wanted to leave these at home. They begin to get ready, then Linus says, Maria, look at the cabin. I finally look at the cabin, and tears begin to roll down my face. Present, Ira, Mira, and Alexei at the hospital. Ms. Donaldson calls and informs us to not come back from the hospital because the cabin is once again under attack. However, she does not supply any details. I cognate and wonder what sort of vile and disgusting weapon was currently launched against the cabin. It must have been even worse than the Ratus invasion. We request strategic placement in the same room, to which the hospital complies. However, then the police come and place handcuffs on Mira and Alexei. I question, Why did you perform that provocative action? The officer states, your sister assaulted one of the staff, and we believe your brother stole an ambulance. I predatorily grin at him and demand, do you make it a habit of restraining foreign citizens with diplomatic passports? He steadfastly replies, I have my orders. I then threaten, you have just created an international incident which may terminate your career. I withdraw my phone and commence a call. Present, Maria, Linus, Matt, and Jim at the cabin. I look at the cabin and begin to cry because I can't believe it, it's on fire. And I'm not talking about a little fire, the whole damn place, which I thought was supposed to be fireproof, is burning. I yell, Linus, we're too damn late. Present, Ira, Mira, and Alexei at the hospital. We await the arrival of our ambassador to reverse this police misunderstanding. To occupy our time, we oculate the news on the television monitor. A report begins, and as I look at Mira, I question, my sister, is that not Ms. Donaldson's cabin which appears engulfed in an inferno? Mira sits up and agrees. Yes, Irinka, it is. I have great concern for Ms. Morgan's safety. Alexei adds, perhaps they are all ensconced in the subterranean tunnels. I sadly inform my sister, Marinka, I was not able to relocate our equipment to the tunnels. Marinka cries out, my katana. We are relieved when Alexei comforts us. Do not worry, my sister. I did relocate your katana before we left. I request clarification. Were you also able to relocate our weapons? He apologizes. Unfortunately, Ira, I was not able to relocate our other weapons. Mira complains. Even though our rifles are in cases, the inferno will immolate them. I attempt to cheer my sister. Marinka, your bin has a weapons room of untold magnitude. She oculates me and demands, you have observed this weapons room? I affirm, yes, and it does contain one PSG-1. Mira hopefully begins, Irinka. I interrupt, of course, my sister, you may use your bin's PSG-1. Mira exhibits sisterly concern. Irinka, what will you use? I smile and reply, I oculated a weapon which I have always wanted to experience. Present, Jens, at the cabin. I leave the guys in the power room to figure out how to connect the portable generator to the carbon dioxide scrubber and hopefully provide power to the security system, which is running on battery backup but still thinks it's under attack. I then head to the weapons vault, open the door, because it's on a totally different system, walk in and head to the wall safe in the middle of the back wall. I enter the combination and open the door. The next operation is to disconnect the upstairs terminals from the security system. I take out my written procedure book and follow the steps. With the upstairs system now disconnected, I reset the security system, and it behaves normally because it no longer feels it's under attack, and I make a note in the book to possibly rethink the attack option on the security system. Next, I pull out a manual I hope to never use. Yes, when I had the tunnels and the house built, I made sure to add a doomsday system to destroy either one or both. Not that I ever dreamed I would need or use it, but things were so far gone in the cabin, I felt there was no choice. I follow each step carefully, knowing that when I take the doomsday key, enter it into the lock and turn it, the cabin will be flooded with propane and then immediately ignited. I place the key into the lock, turn it, and hear a whump above us. I grab the video feed in the workshop and note the cabin is burning and then see something that's even comforting. Present, Jack and Todd at the cabin. Hooking up the portable generator to the CO2 scrubber and power to the security system isn't a problem. The problem is how to vent the exhaust from the generator to the outside so we don't poison ourselves. Todd signs, Jack, what if we run a hose from the exhaust to the exit vent of the carbon dioxide scrubber? I counter, I don't think that will work because Jens closed off the outside air. I look at the scrubber and I ask Todd, how powerful do you think this scrubber is because it reminds me of the ones I've seen on submarines? He replies, I agree, it is very robust. I come up with a sort of harebrained idea and just get ready to ask Todd's opinion when there's a whump above us from the cabin and a slight vibration through the floor. I look at Todd and he signs, I think Jennifer just set the cabin on fire. I question, what the hell are you talking about? He signs, I'm sure she had a doomsday system to destroy the cabin if it was ever needed. I realize it's more important than ever that we get the portable generator running, so I begin to explain my harebrained idea to Todd. Present, Masha, at the cabin. Yes, Ms. Donaldson wisely exercised the only option possible. She executed the doomsday option for the cabin, which will totally incinerate the threat inside the cabin. I announced to Mabel and the girls, Ms. Donaldson, to secure our safety, has transformed the cabin into an inferno. Mabel shakes her head and comments, I'm sure going to miss that kitchen. The girls both question, what about our clothes? Which makes me realize how differently I must raise my own daughter, who I'm carrying. I reply, without a doubt Ms. Donaldson has some contingency plan to replace household items in the event of having to trigger the doomsday system. We need to focus our feelings of loss toward her since she has given up many things to purge the house and to purchase some time for us. Yasmin questions, Masha, would you please explain? Purchase some time for us? I smile and explain. The narcotic lord has been one step ahead of us for the entire confrontation. Everything he did was to force us into the tunnels, which means he either thinks there is a weakness in these subterranean tunnels or he has some new diabolic plan to attack us while we are trapped here. Ms. Donaldson, turning the house into an inferno, has removed access to the tunnels through the house. I watch as the video feed switches to the workshop and call the three to its attention. Lady Luck is smiling on us today. It appears the killer bees are attracted to the cabin inferno and many of them are perishing. I then suggest our next action. We should post a guard on the workshop entrance into the tunnels. Ms. Donaldson walks into the room carrying several weapons and adds, yes, Masha is correct. We will now all carry weapons while we're within the tunnels. Zarika wisely asks, Jennifer lady, will they be cocked and locked? She smiles and confirms, I'll bet you learned that term from Ben, and yes, they will be. A weapon that isn't ready to fire is worthless. Yasmin adds, Ben told us they were only good as clubs. Jennifer laughs, that's right. And what happens when you bring a club to a gunfight? The girls both giggle and answer, you get shot. Yasmin offers, Jennifer lady, I would like to take the first watch. Mabel says, Ms. Donaldson, I never was much for guns. But you have a shotgun, I might be able to handle that. She smiles, gets ready to say something, and we all notice a change in the smell of the air. Yin states, hang on guys, I need to go and see what Jack and Todd are doing. Masha, please take Yasmin to the door for the workshop and give her instruction on how to stand watch. Present. Yints, at the cabin. What the hell are those two guys doing? The scrubber went down when the generator was swarmed by the killer bees, and now that it's come back on, but the air doesn't smell quite right. I run into the power center, see the portable generator running, look at their connections and demand, what the hell are you guys doing running the exhaust of the generator into the input of the carbon dioxide scrubber? Jack says, Yints, calm down and look at the readings on the scrubber. I check the reading and the CO2 isn't really that bad. I look at Jack and he explains, Yints, this thing is over-engineered and I figured while it would eventually cut the life of the components, for the short term this was the only viable option to provide power without opening a vent to the outside. I reply, but the air smells bad. Todd signs, yes, unfortunately, it will scrub the carbon dioxide, but it can't remove the other components of the generator exhaust, so the air will smell bad. I look at the two of them and figure this is a crazy idea, but will probably work. Then I add, okay, we will need one of you to monitor the air quality continuously. Jack suggests, how about one of the girls? I answer, sorry, but this is too important for me to trust either of them with. Todd signs, did the doomsday device function correctly? I wonder how the hell everyone seems to know about the features in this cabin that were supposed to be secret and say, better than ever. It appears the killer bees are being attracted to the heat of the fire and many are getting too close. Jack questions, are Masha and Ivan okay? I reply, yeah, I've put Masha in charge of things while I'm out and about. She's taking Yasmin to guard the workshop door. Jack continues, you trust the girls with weapons? I reply, hell yes. Ben taught those two well. All three of us jump as the alarm sounds on the security system. Jack complains, what the hell is wrong now? Present, Ben, Austin, Texas. The janitor and I had a great lunch together. Then I sent him on a mission for me while I got back to practice. And what a practice it was. The conductor even remarks, Pavel, you did excellently today. I am certain we will be ready to open this weekend. Then a not-so-happy Margarita comes up and asks, Pavel, when will you be home tonight? I glare at her and the damn little dog and growl, never. I've moved out. She questions, but your things? I interrupt, they're already been moved. She runs away crying while the conductor questions, what did you do to her? I reply, I decided to move out and she doesn't like it. He demands, this had better not screw up the play. I'm tired of his bullshit, so I say, so what if it does? Don't you have an alternate for her part? He gives me a dirty look and walks away because I know he has an excellent alternate for her part, but doesn't have one for me. The janitor walks up and says, damn, that's one way to put everyone in their places. I look at him and agree, damn straight. By the way, I'm taking you up on the offer of the cot. We head downstairs, I see my gear and say, thanks for picking all this up for me. What do I owe you? He replies, how about letting me eat lunch with you all each day? I nod my head, it's a deal. He starts an old Muddy Waters record on a beat-up phonograph, then passes me a bottle. I take a swig, pass it back, and decide that living on a cot in the boiler room in a basement is better than living in any apartment with a woman. Well, except for the one woman I don't deserve. Present, Samantha and Stacy, on the road. Bill is a heck of a nice guy and introduces me to my new horse. I ask what's his name. Bill looks funny at me and answers, hell, I don't know. We didn't think to ask, but I don't think it really matters. I reply, well, a name sure matters to Bo and Patches. Bill agrees. Yes, Miss Summers tried to tell me that, but I don't believe it. I get a great idea and decide, I think I will call him Bob. Bill questions, why did you choose that name? I giggle and say, after Bob from Bob's Country Bunker. It's to remind me not to trust lying cowboys. The man that was looking at Bo comes up and states, hey, I resemble that remark. I answer, I thought you were a vet. He explains, but I'm a cowboy first, little lady. I ask, is Bo going to be okay? He states, hell yeah. That horse had some grit in its stomach. I'd be real careful about introducing your horse to him, though, since they might not get along. I question, why's that? He explains, well, that little mare over there is about ready to go into estrus, and while your horse is a gelding, Bo is a stallion. Stacy walks out of the tent and says, damn, I didn't think about that. Is there anything you can do to prevent it? The cowboy vet scratches his chin and answers, well, we could give her daily injections of Regulate. But there are problems with that, especially concerning you ladies. Damn, I sure as hell don't want Patches going into heat since it will cause big problems. The vet talks about hormone therapy and some problems, so I ask, what sort of problems? He explains, well, you ladies could absorb it through your skin, and it's been known to disrupt, excuse my French ladies, your cycles, or possibly cause a miscarriage. I have a hell of a decision to make. I can deal with Patches in heat. She's a good horse, but her PETA right now, and I hate to think how bad she will be if that happens. Or I can give her daily injections that could cause problems for me or Samantha. I'm shocked when Sam offers, Stacy, I can groom her and even use gloves while I do it. I look at the vet and he agrees. Wearing gloves that are waterproof would solve the problem as long as you didn't ride her bareback. I laugh. That's okay because she doesn't like being ridden without a saddle. The vet says, okay, come on over and watch how I give her the injection. He pokes her in the butt with the needle. Patches reaches back and snaps at him, and he comments, she's a spirited one, isn't she? I'm thinking that he doesn't know the half of it. I look at Bill and ask, you have any breakfast left for me? He replies, right away, Miss Summers. We walk off together, and I get to question him about Ben. Present, Byron, Tom, and Inga, reconnaissance, otherwise known as terrestrial foreplay for successful ground warfare. It's a good hike, but I make it to the tall building I pointed out to Tom and Inga. And of course I have a few minor problems getting access to the roof. I wish like hell I had some way to warn Tom and Inga about the problems I had. Oh well, they are both professionals and will need to handle them too. I begin to glass the area and decide I like the other location better. However, by now I was sure that building was a hot zone. In fact, I could glass the top of that building and sure enough, there were scum suckers walking patrol on the top of the building. I perform some ranging and doping the wind, then I decide to give Betsy a good cleaning. Inga and I split up. I find a market, but unfortunately this isn't like many places since guns and ammo are more controlled here. I don't have any luck finding any 50 cal ammo, however, I do find some smaller arms and make a hell of a deal for them. I know Byron will be pissed, but it's not like you can find 50 cal ammo everywhere. Tom heads one direction and I head another. I am lucky and run across an old friend who used to sell weapons. I question, Javier, are you still in the business? He smiles and replies, Inga, what are you doing here? And I might still be in business with the right incentive. I know what incentive he is hoping for, but there's no way I'm going through that right now. I toss him one of the Krugerrands and ask, is this incentive enough? His eyes gleam as he replies, that depends on what you want. I tell him exactly what I want. His eyes get big and he demands, you're going after him? I nod my head and answer, that's right, his men insulted me. Javier understood what I meant and he whistles. The senorita has some very big cojones, but I will need more than this one Krugerrand. I mention, I also need a vehicle to carry everything in. He shakes his head. This could cost me more than it's worth. I begin tossing him Krugerrands until he finally agrees. Okay, I will do this, but you cannot let him know where you got the equipment. I smile and declare, well, if we're both lucky he won't know anything when I'm complete. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. I was in the middle of a damn interview that was even worse than the last one with President Putin. And now I figured out why. Either the colonel or the major had prepared the news crew because they had all the right questions to ask. In the middle of a question, I heard a hell of a noise in the hallway, then they burst into my room. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I was excited that Ben could see. It was better than I had hoped for. I helped to get him ready for his news interview and make him appear at his best, and was very proud of the job he was doing. Things were wonderful until they rudely entered the room. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Masha and Maggie had finished their talk, and Masha was happy as ever. I watched Ben squirm as the reporters asked him questions. Then they flew into the room. Flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hospital. The interview was going better than I had hoped. I fed the press enough information and potential questions so they were making the Corps look better than ever. Oh, I could tell Sergeant Blaine didn't care one bit for it. And in hindsight, I should have ordered him to cooperate in better spirit. I heard a hell of a noise in the hallway. Then a whole Spetsnaz team roared into the room. I looked at the major and commanded, "Stop them. They're ruining our interview." Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. Hell yes. My Spetsnaz team has come to save me from this damn interview. They burst into the room. The colonel mistakenly commanded Major M to stop them. They're ruining our interview. And then the fun started. One major, even Major M, against a team of Spetsnaz didn't stand a chance. He made a huge mistake when he grabbed Yuri but promptly found his own but on the floor. He then did a leg sweep, took down 2 of my team, and then the shit really hit the fan. Flashback, Glenn. What the hell is that major doing now? The interview was going great. Maggie did a hell of a job preparing the news crews. Sergeant Blaine was upset, but obviously playing along. And then the most surprising thing happened. A Spetsnaz team flew into the room. It should have been great publicity, but the major decided to fight them? And even worse, he was getting his butt kicked. Flashback, Jens. I'm watching the interview with Daddy and can even understand a little of the Russian and translate some for Daddy. Then a bunch of Russian soldiers come into the room and Ben's major starts fighting them. I giggled because he was getting beat up on international television. Daddy got upset and started swearing, so I innocently asked, "Daddy, what's wrong?" He steamed his reply, "Jennifer, it's that damn major. All he's done since he's been over there is get in fights. And now this one is on television and he's getting his butt kicked. This was supposed to show the Corps in a good light, and now it's been ruined." We continued to watch. Then the most amazing thing happened. Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. When the Spetsnaz team invaded Ben's room, his major foolishly attacked them, which unfortunately also greatly upset Ben. He tried to get off the bed, and I knew I needed to do something, so I laid on top of him, gave him my best kiss while I simultaneously massaged Dim Mac. The touch of death, or death point striking, refers to any martial arts technique reputed to kill using seemingly less than lethal force targeted at specific areas of the body. The pressure can also be used in less lethal ways. Pressure point 10 on Ben's forearm. This produced a vasovagal response, and Ben promptly fell unconscious. I caught Masha's eyes as she realized what I had done, and we moved between Ben and the Spetsnaz team. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. What the hell? Masha and Tatiana got between our Spetsnaz team and Ben? I looked and noticed Ben was passed out on the bed, and I knew I needed to do something. They both looked like they were going to kick some, and while I know Masha got lucky with the major, she wasn't going to get lucky with the Spetsnaz team. I suddenly knew what I needed to do. Flashback, Glenn. Damn it. This interview had become foobar. The major was getting his butt kicked again. Now a couple of women jumped between the Spetsnaz team and Sergeant Blaine, who looked like he'd passed out. I was sure the women were going to get the hell beat out of them when. Flashback, Jens. I was so angry. That ugly Russian spy female dog that loved my Ben and some other Russian woman acted like they were going to protect my Ben from the Russian soldiers. Huh. Even with my Ben being injured, he could still have kicked everyone's rear in the room. Then my Ben spotter did the most amazing thing, but I also noticed something about Ben which troubled me terribly. Flashback, Glenn. Sergeant Reynolds stepped in front of the women, held out his arms, and walked toward the Spetsnaz team. I thought the old fart was going to get his butt kicked, but instead the Spetsnaz hugged the hell out of him, and then the bottles of vodka magically appeared. Flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hospital. While that plan worked perfectly, the major got his butt handed to him by the SGTS Spetsnaz team, then Sergeant Reynolds stepped in and calmed everyone down. But what interested me the most was what Sergeant Blaine's nurse and Masha did. It looked like they were going to try to keep the Spetsnaz from getting to Ben, who appeared to be passed out on his bed. Now how did that happen? The bottles of vodka came out. Jack motioned me over, and we had some drinks with the boys. Flashback, Major M, at the hospital. That bony bitch set me up. She told me to stop the Spetsnaz from getting to Sergeant Blaine, and I promptly got my butt kicked. All on international television. Sergeant Reynolds fixed the situation, and I do have to say one thing. The Spetsnaz don't hold in grudges, so they helped me up, and then we started to drink vodka. One of them said something, so we all went to Sergeant Blaine's bed, but he was unconscious. Hell, you would have thought he was dead by the way they all acted. Then the bony bitch came up and ordered, "Major, you're a disgrace to that uniform. Just look at you. Get your butt back to the hotel and wait there until I arrive." The Spetsnaz started to laugh their butts off. I stormed out of the room and decided I was going to fix that bony bitch if it was the last thing I did. I started to head back to the hotel when a sweet young thing stopped me on the street. Even though I didn't speak Russian, I could tell what the hell she wanted. She called a taxi, and we both jumped in. It looked like I was going to get lucky after all. Flashback, Ben, in the Colorado woods. It had been, I guess, close to 5 days since Dad ran me off. I'd been living with the fox the whole time in her den. We'd go out hunting each day. Sometimes she would catch rabbits, but other times squirrels. It didn't matter because I'd cook them over a fire for both of us. Yeah, she preferred her food cooked, which surprised me. Things were great until I woke up one morning and she was gone. I came out of the den, saw someone. They started with, "We've been looking." Then I felt liquid fire in my mouth, which then sped directly to my stomach. Flashback, Mira, Safia, and Ira, in Israel. We hurried away from the broken-down cart and ran toward the address the large man had given us. Irinka groaned. "Mira, I feel like something is crawling all over me. I swear some vile creature has taken up residence on me." Safia giggled, prompting me to ask, "Safia, what's so funny?" She grinned. I just misunderstood for a moment. I thought Irinka was saying something completely different. Irinka, surprisingly calm, clarified, "Little one, I said formicate, not fornicate." Safia tilted her head in curiosity. "What's the difference?" I explained. "Formication is the sensation of tiny creatures crawling on your skin. But I think you already know the meaning of the other word." With a sudden realization, Safia exclaimed, "Oh, so Ira has ants in her pants?" Irinka sighed. "I wish it were just ants. Those I could tolerate. But I'm certain these little menaces are from a much viler species." Safia frowned. "Wait, what are you talking about?" Sensing the need to steer the conversation elsewhere, I quickly interjected, "Safia, you promised to teach us more expressions for our language studies." She thought for a moment before grinning. "Well, you already know a lot, but I don't think you realize just how awesome you two are." Irinka raised an eyebrow. "That's logical. We are skilled fighters." Safia laughed. "No, I mean it as a compliment. It means you two are really cool and the best at what you do." Irinka smirked. "Ah, I like this phrase then. Yes, Mira, we are awesome." Safia added with a wink, "And you can count on that." And just like that, our discussion took another playful turn as we delved deeper into the world of expressions. Flashback, Jens. Daddy still complained. "That damn major is screwing everything up." I suggested, "Perhaps you could send him to the resort in Greenland?" Daddy laughed. "Jennifer, like I told you before, it's not a resort, but that's a hell of an idea. Yeah, I think Major Mike needs to spend a few months in Thule to cool his butt down." I bravely suggested, "What about the Colonel?" Daddy shot down that idea. "Hell no, she's done a hell of a job. Rats. My Ben will still have some problems in Russia, but the female dog spy is by far the worst." I announced, "Daddy, I'm going up to my room for the night." He complimented me on my help. "Jennifer, I really want to thank you for your translations tonight. They really helped." I smiled at Daddy and said, "Thank you. I will work harder on learning Russian." And then I ran upstairs to implement my new plan against the female dog Russian spy. Flashback, Ben, at the hospital. A fire burned down my throat and into my stomach. I woke from my Colorado dream and swore, "What the hell?" Yuri smiled and said, "Ben, we gave you a little vodka to wake you up." I ordered, "Well, give me a damn bottle so I can help myself." I found a bottle in my hand, took a long as hell swig from it, and then I saw a very pissed off Tatiana. Naturally, I asked, "What is your problem?" She glared at me, but the doctor answered, "Sergeant Blaine, you are going into serious back surgery and should not be drinking alcohol." I took another long swig, handed the doctor the bottle, glared back at Tatiana, and said, "I'm ready. Do your best." Flashback, Tatiana, at the hospital. I was so angry at Ben that if I didn't love him so much I would have left. The Duroc, Fool and Rhythms with Barack, drank too much vodka before his scheduled surgery, and I was sure it would cause problems with the anesthesiologist. Masha walked beside me and suggested, "Tatiana, I know you are angry with Ben, but he needed to give his Spetsnaz team some hope. So the drinks he took were for that reason. Now go and help the doctor and be his loving girlfriend because he needs you." Masha was never wrong, so I swallowed my pride and inquired, "Doctor, might I assist with the surgery?" Flashback, Dr. Vasco Boynikov at the hospital. I was angry as the halls of Hades and demanded, "What the hell are you doing? This man needs surgery, and you are giving him vodka. Shame on all of you." You see, the general belief in Russia is that a little vodka, or a lot, is always a good thing. His nurse asked to assist, and I accepted, "Yes, and make sure to inform the anesthesiologist of his alcohol consumption." I ordered, "Take Sergeant Blaine to surgery immediately." The nurse complied. I looked at the Spetsnaz and continued, "You should be ashamed of yourselves." Then I followed Sergeant Blaine out of the room. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. Yuri asked me, "What the hell is the doctor's problem?" I took another drink of vodka and stated, "How the hell do I know? Perhaps his panties are in a bunch." The Spetsnaz liked the hell out of this comment until Masha walked up and warned, "Jack, you and the Spetsnaz are being Durocs. Ben is going in for serious surgery and might not ever walk again while you make jokes. I am going to the chapel to pray for Ben and his doctor. If you and the Spetsnaz really love him, you will join me. If there was ever a party killer, that was it." I looked at my Spetsnaz team, and we all headed to the chapel. Hell, we might kill people during the day, but that sure as hell didn't mean we didn't pray at night for our team members. Flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hospital. Well, that was something you didn't see every day. Jack Reynolds being told off by a woman and then following her to the chapel to pray. I decided I needed to see this for myself, so I followed them. Masha stopped at the chapel door, pulled a headscarf out of her purse, put it on, and held Jack's hand as they walked into the chapel. She pointed to the right side of the chapel, and Jack and the Spetsnaz team moved over there while she went to the left side. Then they all began to pray the same words. I recognized it as the Orthodox Jesus prayer. I entered and decided it wouldn't hurt anything, so I joined them. Flashback, Major M, headed to the hotel. Shit, we're going at it hot and heavy in the back of the taxi, and then it gets dark. At first I thought we drove through a tunnel, but then the taxi stopped. The girl pulled away from me, and I could see we were inside a dilapidated building. The cab driver turned, pointed a gun at me, and I realized I had made a hell of a mistake. Flashback, Glenn. I just got to sleep when the damn phone rang. I answered it and heard, "This is the American Embassy in Russia. We've just been informed that your major has been kidnapped." I jumped out of bed and yelled, "What the hell?" I thought the colonel was taking care of this. It was time to kick some shit. I dialed up the colonel's mobile phone. She answered, and I yelled, "What the hell are you doing over there? I send you over there to take care of the major, and then you let him get kidnapped. If you ever want to come back from Russia, you'd better get your butt in gear and get the major released." I hung up the phone and wondered if Jennifer was right. Perhaps I should send both of them to Thule and assign them to the same room. Flashback, Colonel Maggie, at the hospital. Glenn was on the warpath and didn't let me get a word in edgewise. And what was worse is he yelled loud enough so everyone in the chapel heard what he said. Jack walked up to me and asked, "What the hell was that about the major being kidnapped?" I replied, "I sure as hell don't know." I sent him back to the hotel. Masha came up and asked, "Am I to understand the major has been taken hostage?" I needed some time to investigate Glenn's claim, so I said, "I'm going to step out into the hallway and make some calls." One of the Spetsnaz stated, "No one is going anywhere alone, and we need to prepare for action." Everyone came out into the hallway as I called the American Embassy, and several of the Spetsnaz left. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. If the major had been taken, it was not a good thing, and I needed to contact my people immediately. However, I was also needed here to support my Jack during Ben's surgery. I slightly lied. "I need to use the sanitary facilities." Jack ordered, "Then you're taking a Spetsnaz for an escort." I complained, "Only as far as the doorway." The Spetsnaz added, "Only if I can check the bathroom to make sure it is clear first." I agreed, "That is acceptable," and we headed toward the toilet. Flashback, Jack, at the hospital. I might not care for the major, but if he'd been taken hostage, it was a major incident. The rest of the team came back with the weapons. I grabbed a piece of shit AK, and Maggie said, "It's confirmed, the major is being held hostage." From the look in her eyes, I could tell there was a hell of a lot more she didn't say. I motioned her to the side, and when we were out of earshot of the Spetsnaz, I demanded, "Okay, Maggie, there's a hell of a lot more that you're not telling me." She said, "They've taken the major hostage. Their demand is clear. We hand over Sergeant Blaine within 24 hours, or they'll execute him." I responded, "No way. Ben is too valuable to even consider that option." I turned to the Spetsnaz team and informed them, "It's confirmed. The major has been taken hostage. They're demanding we hand over Sergeant Blaine within 24 hours, or they'll carry out the execution." Without hesitation, they responded in unison, "We don't abandon our own." Yuri took command and issued immediate orders. "We have an officer en route to take command. Until then, here's the plan. I want 2 men stationed at the operating room where Sergeant Blaine is undergoing surgery, another 2 securing his empty hospital room to prevent any tampering. 2 men will remain with the colonel at all times, and another 2 will stay with Jack. Additional personnel will cover the rooftop, while the rest patrol the perimeter. Now move." It was a damn beautiful sight as our team deployed. Flashback, Tatiana, in surgery. It was truly an honor to watch such a skilled surgeon. His hands never wavered a bit. His cuts were precise and only as long as necessary. I anticipated the instruments he required and quickly handed them to him almost before he asked. When he finally exposed Ben's broken vertebra, he looked at me and said, "This man was very lucky." He began to fix the problem when there was a commotion in the hallway. I looked through the windows in the door and noticed 2 Spetsnaz standing guard and wondered what had transpired. Then I understood. Ben had become a target, and I had foolishly left all my weapons in the locker with my clothes. The doctor questioned, "Nurse, what is going on? I need all your concentration focused here." I apologized, "Sorry, doctor. I was distracted by the 2 Spetsnaz now guarding the door." He surprised me when he swore, "I was wondering when those scumsuckers would show up and try to finish what they started." When this man was declared a national hero, It was like painting a target on his chest. But don't worry, nurse. I have a Makarov in an ankle holster. Now, shall we fix this man's back and frustrate our enemies even more? I felt reassured knowing the doctor was armed, and even more so with the special forces standing guard. Flashback, Masha, at the hospital. After the special forces had cleared the restroom of other civilians, I called my office. The news was as bad as I had expected. The attackers had killed the 2 agents assigned to protect the major, then used a young woman to lure him into an abduction. Their demands were clear: turn Ben over to them, and they would release the major. But no one believed that lie. We knew they had no intention of letting either of them live. All security forces were on high alert due to the possibility of further attacks. My team had trained for this type of situation, so I gave the necessary orders. Then I checked my weapons and headed back to my jack. This was a grave situation, and I was prepared to protect him at all costs. Flashback, Mira, Safia, and Ira, in Israel. Safia surprised us with how many different ways the word kick could be used, and we were caught off guard. We especially liked the phrase kick butt, because she proudly stated, "We kicked butt." Then she added, "You can count on that." Ira raised an eyebrow. "Does that mean you're confident enough to stake something valuable on it if you're wrong?" Safia frowned. "What do you mean, put something on the line?" I explained. "In this case, betting means you're so confident in something that you'd stake something important on it." She rolled her eyes. "No, it's just a figure of speech." Ira huffed. "Well, it's a confusing one, and I don't like it." Safia crossed her arms. "Well, don't get mad at me over it. You two were the ones who wanted to know all these expressions." I thought for a moment and asked, "Wouldn't it be painful if someone actually tried to chew you out for it?" Safia groaned. "Not as painful as the headache you two are giving me right now. Look, here comes a car. Maybe we can use it to get to my sister." Ira grumbled. "Anything would be better than that rickety cart we've been using." As the car approached, we raised our rifles. The driver took one look at us, panicked, and bolted, leaving the car behind. I glanced at Ira. "Isn't it odd that he ran away so fast?" Ira demanded, "I do not care. I want to drive the vehicle." Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.